As a young boy, Abe Lincoln witnesses his mom being killed by a vampire.
There is darkness everywhere, Mr. Lincoln.
But as he seeks revenge, he discovers that vampires plan to conquer the United States.
History remembers the battle, but forgets the blood.
As statesman by day and protector by night, he fights to stop a deadly scourge in Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
So I'm curious, we have this movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which is the first of 2 Abraham Lincoln movies we have this year. We're going to have Lincoln later on. We had 2 Snow White movies, 2 Lincoln movies. Interesting. This is going to be a lot different than that Lincoln movie.
They're clearly in the same category, Snow White and Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, very much so. So how is this Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was written by Seth Grahame-Smith, who wrote the novel of the same name, came out in 2010. I actually read the novel shortly after it came out. In Seth Grahame-Smith's adaptation of the book to a film, I really feel like he changed it from being a historical fiction work that I really enjoyed to a summer action blockbuster that kind of ignores some of the more important story points of the book, in my opinion, and just opts for a more fun ride, roller coaster type thing.
The film posits that Abraham Lincoln's power, or rise to power, is really driven by by a revenge narrative, right? His mother is killed by a vampire. He then goes out and decides that once he grows up that he is now going to make his life about killing vampires.
I get that there's a possibility that most of this movie is based on the revenge narrative, but after that event transpires, the thing changes. His intentions change. It's not so much about vampires, it's about saving the country from vampires.
Taking, a piece of historical fiction, which is always fun, then scaling it up, if you will, for the screen. You have inherent challenges, again, because they're different mediums, right? And people come to the theater wanting to be dazzled visually. In so doing, what they sacrificed were paying attention to some of the more logical details when you think about plantations, slave owners, vampires, slaves, and slaves functioning both as your labor economy and as your food source. There are plot elements, and then there are characters that are just kind of haphazardly strung together. Once that happens several times, you think, okay, this director is really not interested in really adhering to his own logic.
Yeah.
And he just wants to make sure that he dazzles you and wows you with effects and stuff like that.
But in the book, it's his biography, it's his journal, so you're getting pieces of how he feels about the North and the South and how he feels about, where the city that he's living in.
Adaptations are very, very challenging. They're very difficult. And what screenwriters need to be able to do is distill the essence of what was in the novel, whatever it was, and then reformulate it for a completely different rendering and medium.
If I don't analyze the hell out of this movie in comparison to the book, it's really fun and it's enjoyable and it looks cool. There were parts where they said really serious lines, and sometimes it worked for me, but then there are other times when he's fighting vampires where he's twirling it around and there's blood flying everywhere and he's about to get killed, and then he rips open his axe and there's a little shotgun barrel in there and he shotguns a vampire in the face.
Consistently throughout the film, there are these moments where things are kind of over the top or come close to being over the top, and then it pulls it back. What I finally realized is it's idiosyncratic. You never know how you're supposed to receive that, and you go, wait, am I supposed to laugh at that or not?
And we laughed a ton.
We laughed, but we don't know that you're
ourselves.
supposed to laugh.
So most of the time with summer movies, we have A-list stars. This one doesn't have those. So how did the cast do?
Benjamin Walker is Abe Lincoln. I don't know what I've seen him in before, honestly.
Kinsey as a young Liam Neeson.
Okay, so, you've got him. He does what he's supposed to do. I wouldn't say he's incredible, but he's not bad.
So tell me, Mr. Lincoln, what do you hate?
I hate that my mother was taken away.
Inadequate.
I hate that we were afraid.
And?
That my mother, father, everyone that we knew lived in fear.
Pathetic.
Dominic Cooper is Henry Sturgis, the vampire who trains him. I really liked him a lot. I mean, he doesn't really step out of his little cardboard cutout either.
There are no breakout or standout performances, which then allows kind of the action and the themes to emerge to the front when you don't have stars that are kind of taking you out of the film.
Timur Bekmambetov directed this adaptation. How did he do?
I think he does what you expect him to do. I mean, his previous directing credit was Wanted with Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy, and that has a lot of the same style and flair. He also produced a movie that you and I really enjoyed, 9, not the Daniel Day-Lewis musical one, but there was an animated film directed by Shane Acker.
The number 9.
Yeah, the number 9.
For me, he's again, he's a B film director who gets A film budgets. And with that in mind, I think that Bekmambetov is in pursuit or hot pursuit of the careers of people like Michael Bay, in that he likes a lot of big, loud, explosive action oriented stuff that steamrolls over character, story, plot. But I have to say, despite all of my protestations, the movie is always entertaining, although perhaps not always for the right reasons.
It's fun, and it's not exactly what I wanted it to be, but I think if you enjoy these fun types of rides, if you liked Wanted, and you've got a 3D TV at home, stream it.
As tempted as I am to say that Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter sucks, if you can make it past the premise, you'll be entertained. But be entertained in the privacy of your own home. Stream it.
Cheers.
All right.
That was pretty civil, unlike the Civil War.
That was the worst pun you've ever made.